Hello ladies and gentlemen, and everyone beyond. I am BabyNoobCakes, and this is PlayStation Plus Reviews. And on this episode, we're going to be taking a look at one of the January 2020 free games, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. And this is actually going to be part 2 of a 3-part review of this collection. We're going to be covering Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. In this one, we'll be looking at the second game in the series, and I'll try to talk about how this game has evolved since the first installment. Out of the original trilogy of games, this is the only one I never actually finished back on the PS3. I had borrowed it from a friend and had to give it back, so I never got to finish. But, like I said in the first video, I'm going to try to frame this review for those of you who've never played any of them before. All 3 of them are pretty story-heavy, so I will try not to spoil any of the plot points, but you may see some footage from locations a bit later in the game. But now, let's attempt to answer the question, as one of the free games of the month, was it worth it? Mechanics. Unsurprisingly, the second game in the series is not all that much different from the first game as far as mechanics go. We're still looking at a third-person cover-based shooter for the main genre of gameplay, with, again, some very light stealth elements, some puzzle solving, platforming, and collectibles. This time around, there are a few new tricks in Nathan Drake's repertoire, and the developers did do some upgrades on some elements of the game. You'll see that the gunplay has remained mostly the same, but it does have a higher level of responsiveness from the various weapons. The melee combat feels a bit better now, as enemies will try to grapple you and you'll need to press a button in order to react to that, rather than just kind of mashing buttons to punch, like in the first game. The stealth has also received an upgrade, as Drake will automatically crouch down a bit more when in the presence of enemies who haven't spotted him yet. But it still doesn't quite feel like a true stealth system, and you're gonna get caught. This is not a stealth game. All of the climbing feels like it has more weight now, and the climbing sections all feel more deliberate and slightly more realistic? Meaning, they're a bit slower, but to make up for that, they are on the whole shorter. Art style. The team at Naughty Dog really stepped it up from the first game in this second installment. The jungles are lusher, the cityscapes and vistas more breathtaking, and the set pieces are crazier and more action-packed. I mean, you literally start out the game waking up from unconsciousness with a bleeding wound in a train car hanging over a cliff in the snow-capped mountains of Tibet as it begins to slide into oblivion. Among Thieves also has an explosive amount of explosions, too. They really dialed up the action for this sequel. Sound. Greg Edmondson is back for a second time to bring a powerful score to the second game in the series. A fun fact I just learned is that Greg Edmondson is also the composer for the TV show Firefly.
Pretty sweet, huh?
So any fans of that are gonna love the music here as well. It has the same pulse-heightening, tension-raising, bass-thumping that you can come to expect from Uncharted 1, but turned up another degree, and with just a bit more of Southern Asian flavor, as this game leads the players into areas near Tibet, in the search for Shangri-La. Replayability. Among Thieves is a bit longer than Drake's Fortune, clocking in at around 7 to 11 hours, depending on your playstyle. Again, you have 6 different difficulty levels to progress through, and the collectibles make a return from the first game. But this time, there are 101 treasures to collect, 40 more than the first game. But, like the last game, there isn't much more to see in terms of story. No branching paths or decisions to make. How replayable this game is mostly dependent on whether you want all of the unlockables and trophies or not. I know I've said this before, but I feel like it bears repeating because there are a lot of people who are big fans of the multiplayer of these games, but that's not included in these remakes, so I don't really have any way to comment on that experience. Sorry. Narrative. This time around, Drake is teaming up with a few new friends, Harry Flynn and Chloe Fraser, who is actually now the lead character in her own game and the newest chapter in the Uncharted series, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. These two are both established Tomb Raiders in their own right, and in the first few minutes of the game invite Nathan to track down the secrets hidden by another real-life adventurer, Marco Polo.
Hey, check it out. Marco.
Really?
Come on.
No.
Marco.
Polo.
As opposed to Francis Drake from the first game. Drake is also soon joined by his old pal Sully as they fight against this game's antagonist, Zoran Lazarevic, a Serbian war criminal mad with power in a race to find yet another legendary city. This time, it's Shambhala, or you might know it as Shangri-La. On the way, they learn this ancient city hides the Chintamani stone, said to grant wishes. Also, those people who are fans of Elena from the first game will be happy to know that she makes her return in Among Thieves.
What the hell are you doing here? Jeff, don't!
My opinion! I enjoyed the second game a lot more than the first. I think that Naughty Dog was going through some growing pains, transitioning not only from the PS2 to the PS3, but also from their Jak and Daxter series to the new Uncharted series. However, in this second installment of the Uncharted series, they've really found their stride, and they deliver an even stronger game than the first. I've heard people say that this is their favorite in the series, and after having played through this one finally, I can understand why. The gunplay does feel a lot better in this chapter of the game, and for that reason, I found myself in a lot fewer of the frustrating situations that I had in the first game. However, in Uncharted 2, I actually found the premise at the beginning of the game a bit strange. From the first game, I didn't get the feeling from Nathan that he was a true thief. He seemed, to me, to be more of an adventurer, in it for the thrill of the chase, and for his own personal reasons of following up where his ancestors left off. Sully, on the other hand, seemed to be the greedy, in it only for the money type. Drake's motivations just seemed a bit more nuanced in the first game than at the start of the second. Maybe that's just my interpretation, but having your established hero character fall in with a couple of treasure hunters seemed a bit off. But you'll be happy to know that Drake does not stay a greedy hunter for long. And no, that's not much of a spoiler, I promise. This change happens within the first hour or so of gameplay. The title of this game also intrigued me into doing a little bit more research on that famous old proverb, "There is honor among thieves." Or wait, is it "no honor among thieves," as you may have heard it said? Well, I came to find out that throughout history, both are correct, both are used, and both are true. And this game really explores the dichotomy of honor and loyalty and thievery. Which, I don't know, I just thought it was a neat tidbit of information. Was it worth it? After playing the first game and noticing how flawed it really was, I was feeling a little bummed out that the Uncharted trilogy might not live up to my nostalgic memories of it. However, that feeling has been lifted now that I've played the second game in the series. It is looking really good for this collection to make it into the worth it category. However, you will still have to wait for my third and final review of Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception to find out if the collection as a whole is worth this month's free game spot. Also, don't forget to go onto the PlayStation Store and download your free games every month. Because hey, they're free, and sometimes you will end up with a few gems. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you later.